Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Technology Boardroom. This time we're going to be talking around a recap of the recent Microsoft AI tour that took place in London. For those that don't know me, I'm Robert Smith and I'm the Partnerships Director at Advania. And I'm joined today by my colleagues Arno, Suzanne and Dan. And I'll ask them just to introduce themselves briefly. Dan, in no particular order.
Sure.
Do you want to go first?
I'm Dan Colby. I'm the Director of Client Technology Value here at Advania. Job title that ChatGPT came up with, actually, before Copilot was launched. And I spend my time really focusing on evangelizing new technology to customers, particularly Microsoft technology, and helping them understand what return they're going to get from their investment in that.
Awesome. Thank you. Suzanne.
Hi, I'm Suzanne O'Neill. I'm the Business Change and Adoption Lead at Advania. My role is very much people focused. So, when the new technology comes out, it's very much about helping the end users understand why we're moving to new technology and how they need to use that technology.
Brilliant. Thank you. And last but not least, Arno.
Hey everyone, I'm Arno O'Neill. I'm the AI Product Director at Advania UK. And what that means is I help shape the products and services we take to market or build for our clients, obviously with an AI focus.
So certainly for today, that's going to be very helpful because that's definitely what we're going to spend our time talking about. So obviously, this is hot off the presses. So yesterday, as we record this, was the Microsoft AI Tour roadshow event in London. I'm very pleased to say that Advania were there as a sponsoring and premium sponsoring partner. And I know that everyone's got some fantastic things to talk about that they saw on the day, but I just wanted to give a little bit of context for our listeners and to set the scene for the conversation. So, obviously, we are a Microsoft partner. We are sort of very heavily wedded to Microsoft in terms of sort of our technology stack, the services we provide. Not to say that we don't do other things as well, but of course, Microsoft is a core part of that and very close to my heart as well. I just wanted to get everyone's sort of first impressions of sort of what might be the first sort of real large scale in-person event that we've sort of co-hosted, if you like, for quite a long time. And I just wondered what everyone's thoughts were of the actual day itself.
So I mean, as the new guy, I guess I'll go first. So I've only been at Advania for about 4 months. And I was really proud, even though I'd only been there for 4 months, seeing a sea of purple body warmers. Yeah, actually,
well done, Dan.
I got mine as well. I'll put it on while I'm talking. A sea of body warmers. It was amazing. Our stand was well organized. It was beautiful. Lots of energy in the room. Packed floor. Lots of people around, obviously very enthusiastic. It was a great day.
I'd really echo that. I mean, I've been at Advania in our previous incarnations for 10 years now. I've done about 63,000 different exhibitions at that time, I think. Lots of Microsoft ones. And I can honestly say this was the best Microsoft event I've been to. The attendance was huge. I mean, really huge. I think there were 7,000 people registered and it felt like almost all of them had turned up. Really good conversations. As a premium sponsor, we had a nice large stand. We had about 15 people, all in these bright purple tops. It just felt there was so much activity and buzz going on, and I think that's kind of symptomatic of AI as a subject, isn't it? It's really got the whole IT community very fired up, and in fact, the business community fired up as well around what AI can do for the organization. So, yeah, I'd say the best event I've been to.
Yeah, definitely real buzz at the event. Was really great to see. Everybody's obviously really, really excited about AI, and that really come across yesterday. For me, it was our breakout session. Ross and Chris done a great job, but Ross is on my team, and just watching him, I almost felt like the proud mum because he done such a brilliant job, and it was just a really nice feeling.
See, that's wonderful, and it is worth saying that as as one of the sort of premium sponsors, we were presenting on stage alongside Microsoft. We were not just there as attendees. We were there to help craft and drive the agenda forward, and to sort of I've done a number of these myself on both the partner side and on the Microsoft side, and I think it's always super important to have the voice of partner there and speaking, because that really we are the voice of our clients and our customers, right? If you're stuck inside that mothership bubble, sometimes it can be difficult to understand exactly how that great technology actually works in the real world, and I think we can help bring that to life, and I'm sure we'll talk about that session in a little bit more detail later.
I think it was a great decision by marketing to choose the purple body warmers though. I think purple's not my color, but seeing that army of purple, we really stood out.
It's everyone's color now. That's it. We don't get a choice.
I think as well, it was very noticeable. We was the only stand that we did all wear the same thing. It was very easy for people to identify us.
I've just put a post on LinkedIn about an hour ago. I asked Copilot's advice as to what colour shirt to pair with this ridiculously bright purple, and it gave me a whole range of colours, and it was like, and they said, "What do you think of this?" I was like, looking at my wardrobe, it's going to be red or blue or white. What do you think? And it went, well, white's absolutely timeless classic. Can go with anything. Light blue could be a really nice combination with that purple, or you could go red and be super daring. And I was like, so I wore a white shirt. But then Ross did the presentation, and a couple of other colleagues have worn light blue shirts. They look really good, actually. So I just put a photo on LinkedIn asking people, do you trust the sartorial advice of Copilot? Is it actually light blue? Oh, I didn't trust it. I went with my own instincts of white, but light blue actually was rocking with the purple. So yeah, maybe Copilot is pretty good at helping you get dressed in the morning as well as everything else.
Copilot will happen. I see products coming.
So I'm going to come on to some more of the unusual stuff that perhaps potentially happened at the event. I definitely want to talk about the elephant in the room of the giant surface and exactly how that
it was overshadowed by our robot.
Well, I was going to save the robot for last, but we'll talk about that in a bit, I'm sure, as well. So I've been keeping an eye on sort of the feedback from the event from other attendees, customers, other partners, Microsoft themselves. And I wondered if any of you had any comments on, obviously the event was focused around AI and the sort of current AI wave that we're in, which I know we've spoken about at length on some other episodes of the Technology Boardroom. Where did the messaging land? Where did the story land in terms of, are we now at the stage of AI for the masses, or is it still AI for enterprise, or what sort of customers and clients can benefit from this latest AI wave? And Arno, I don't know if you want to jump in.
So I didn't attend the keynote. I was at the stand talking to customers. So from a messaging perspective, maybe Dan,
yeah, sure.
You were at the keynote?
I had a front row seat at the keynote thanks to our sponsorship. Actually, first time I've ever sat in the front row of a multiple 1,000-person keynote speech.
But was it not too close to the screen?
A little, but I felt like I was just having a conversation with Judson. Okay. So yeah, it was great.
I don't want to burst your bubble, Dan, but I had a front row seat as well because I registered the day early and I got given a priority pass. But I was actually at the stage end where the speakers were, not at your end where the screen was.
Very nice, very nice. I was too busy to go and pick up my pads earlier. But I was at another Microsoft AI event actually on Tuesday. But so I think a lot of the technology that was talked about, obviously, an event of that size, you've got to cover all levels of education. So there was a certain amount of things that people like us that have been immersed in this for a couple of years now knew very well. There was some really great new stuff in the keynote around what's happening in GitHub Copilot, actually, where the whole Copilot brand started, and then some of the power of what you can do there in a sort of, I don't know how to describe it, in a sort of amateur pro code environment, as it were. So it's pro code, but you don't need to know how to code to be using it anymore.
Citizen
Yeah,
developer is the phrase Microsoft like us to use.
But the biggest thing for me, the thing that most people are asking about on the stand is, agentic AI. That is the absolute buzzword at the moment. And, Judson did a great job of describing that. I did a bit of piece to camera for Microsoft at the beginning of the day. I was asked what's my favorite breakthrough technology, and I said Azure AI Foundry, because it just completely bridges the gap between that completely bespoke AI development in Azure, where I guess we started this whole journey, and the completely out of the box Copilot experience that you get as a sort of AI assistant. AI Foundry really just helps you move in a seamless spectrum from Copilot to Copilot Studio to Copilot agents, and then be able to play lots of different tunes with those agents, orchestrate multi-agent pathways, etc., apply governance across the agents and how they're working, and then eventually into a fully bespoke environment if that's what you need. So I think.
So you've hit the AI bingo card really early. So just for the benefit of our listeners, what is agentic AI? When you talk about agents, what do you mean?
I guess there's a few ways of thinking about it. You can get agentic models. I won't complicate the conversation by talking about agentic models, but some of the models now have almost like multiple internal personalities that can be specialists on different things. But an agent is really it's where you give the AI agency, actually. So you give it a license to behave and think by itself and to act autonomously, or to act in an asynchronous way with the user. So things like Copilot that we've known and loved for some time now are very much synchronous conversation, simple question, simple answer. It's all about retrieving or creating information and written text predominantly, or images and videos as well now, obviously. But whereas an agent has agency, it can act on its own behalf, it can think on its own behalf. You can build an agent which will behave similarly to Copilot, but act with reason over very specific data, or perform more controlled tasks, as it were. You can have a task agent which goes and does stuff for you, and it could be at your request, but it goes away and asynchronously performs that task. And then you can create completely autonomous agents which don't need that interaction with a human, or they will come and interact with a human when they've got a question for a human, but otherwise will act entirely autonomously, triggered by some other event in a system somewhere. So I think a lot of the conversation about technology was about those agents and how that's evolving the use cases we've got for AI. But a lot of the questions that I took from customers was, what is an agent? How can we use it? Is that really any different? I had quite a few people saying to me, well, it's a bit like modular programming, surely, isn't it? And I was like, no, it's not, because even your kind of microservices that you might have at one time developed, they're fixed. It's a if this then that then this. Whereas
I think that's
the agent thinks for itself. Sorry, go on.
I think a very simple example would be in classic workflow, you've got a predefined set of inputs, predefined set of outputs, and a step-by-step way of getting there. And you have to understand the logic. You have to understand the complete logic, the business process, in a sort of structured way. With agents, the LLM can understand the goal that you're trying to achieve, understand the context, understand your business, have a complete understanding of what it is you're trying to achieve, and then use a set of tools, like a huge array of tools to achieve that goal. And that means that if you ask it one question today, it's going to use these 5 tools. And if you ask it another question tomorrow, it's going to use a different 5 set of tools, because what it's trying to do is achieve a goal. And then it's self-learns and improves over time. So it's way more powerful than trying to articulate a step-by-step process. It uses the large language model to achieve a goal using a bunch of tools.
And I guess to come back to sort of the original question is, that all sounds very complicated. That all sounds very costly. Is this still the domain of enterprises only, or are we starting to see that filter down into smaller customers? And if so, how low does that go?
As well as working for Advania, I own a one-person business. and I use so much AI and agents and automation that it's unbelievable. So that's as low as it goes. I think it goes down to, well, maybe there's a concept of a 0-person business somewhere, but if that's the case, what's the point? You at least need a person to collect the money at the end of the day, I think. But it's my view is it's definitely not the preserve of enterprise anymore. Microsoft done their usual wonderful job of democratizing all of this stuff and making it, pay as you go in some cases, or relatively low license fee. It's accessible, it's easy, and it's there. Well, sorry. Easy is probably
Very
the wrong
much of the conversation very much of that conversation at the keynote was about small to mid-market businesses, and that this is aimed at them as much as it is at enterprise level.
And what are we seeing from clients? Potentially a question for you, Suzanne. What are we seeing from clients in terms of their process or urge to adopt this stuff? Are they as keen as we are? Right, we're all technologists. We're all interested in the shiny fancy kit. But how does that actually translate down into helping solve real business challenges?
I think at the moment with a lot of our clients is we're still at the early stages of that journey. They're still trying to understand Copilot, how to use it in the right way and get the best out of it. I'm not sure we're quite mature enough yet for agents. It's something that will definitely come.
I saw a wonderful quote yesterday, which is a bit of a paraphrase, but it's agents are the answer. What is the question? And organizations approaching it in that way, going, "Oh, well, we need to roll out some agentic AI."
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you think that means, and why are you doing that?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I think from our client perspective, we're sort of still taking on them on that Copilot journey. We're building up their maturity to move on to the next phases.
I think that's true of the majority of our clients, Susanna. We have got some standout clients who are really, really cutting edge and really leveraging this stuff. And obviously, that gives us as a Microsoft partner a chance to do that with them effectively and really, cut a pathway for the future. But I'd agree with you that the vast majority of our clients are not in that space. They're still trying to get their people.
No.
Because it's all, you're a change expert. And to me, it's all about change. You've got to change people. You've got to change their mindset. You've got to change your business process in order to really leverage all of this stuff. And most companies, I think, are still very much at the beginning of that change journey. But we'll probably run through it faster than perhaps the more cutting edge customers have done. That's the price you pay for being at the leading edge of this kind of stuff.
I mean, we did have one of our clients that we're working with at the moment was at the event and came to the stand after that keynote speech and did say we need to start looking into some of these other AI options, but obviously we need to get Copilot embedded first. So businesses understand that this is the start of the journey and there's lots more to come to get them fully sort of AI adequate. Is that the word?
Well, and when you talk about that, sort of where do you start and how do you start on this journey? There was a great quote from Judson when he was speaking on stage during one of those keynotes, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but essentially said, if organizations, if you as an organization don't sort out your data before implementing AI and before implementing Copilot, you are going to make bad decisions with more confidence than you ever have in the past. This idea that AI can hallucinate, particularly if you feed it bad data, and those hallucinations can compound, and suddenly you are making a decision with absolute confidence, but based on absolute nonsense. And I think that first step of sorting out the data within inside your organization, what is it you're going to use to drive this AI model, I think is the first step for any organization.
I think,
but I wonder what everyone else thinks.
This was something I've picked up previous to the event, but definitely a theme I picked up at the event, which is the more I chatted to customers and really got to the heart of what they were wanting, what they really needed help with was automation in general. And that could be business process management or re-engineering. And then you apply any sort of technology to help them with the automation problem. Classic workflow, RPA, agents, they could be all be tools that could help them. Agents aren't the silver bullet to solving everything, but they are a very important bullet, and I'm very much in favor of them, but it's not the silver bullet.
I think that was what came out quite clear in that keynote as well, was very much about, they very much went through which tool to use when it was most valuable to a client. And it was quite refreshing at a Microsoft event that it wasn't all about sales. It was about the tools. I don't know if anybody else felt that. Dan, you was there. I found it very different to other events I've been to with Microsoft.
Yeah, I think in the keynote, very much Judson's session in particular, he laid out a really good framework for how all of these components need to come together, and in fact, how more traditional areas of IT like security, or as Rob said, sorting out your data, how that fits into that puzzle, and how you can chart your journey through that. And I had some customers with me in the keynote, and then spent time talking with them afterwards. And the conversation we had afterwards for maybe an hour and a half was inspired by the keynote. That's what you want, isn't it? Both whether you're the customer or a partner like us or Microsoft, the purpose of these events is to get people's brains ticking and thinking, and then being inspired as to what they can do. And yeah, I think it wasn't. Perhaps we've seen events like this in the past where it is just very much, here's a product, you need to buy it type of thing, whereas this was very much, here's how you can navigate this sort of landscape of different tools and technologies, and how you can leverage it to really change your organization for the better. That was quite a strong theme that came through, and I think that
keeping people at the heart of that is key, right? I know we are the technology company with people at heart, and we talk about AI as it should be and all of that sort of wonderful stuff, but it's really important to remember that this is not just about the technology. This is about what benefit can that technology bring to the people inside those organizations.
I think one of the headings for one of the slides was AI empowering human achievements, which I think is a really good, a good statement. Again, it sort of links with that. We're thinking about the people.
And I think, unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the session that Ross and Chris delivered, although I was quite familiar with the content, because up until a few hours before, Chris was sick and I was going to have to stand in and deliver it for him. So, but what they showed in, as I talked earlier about Azure AI Foundry really helping complete that spectrum of solutions, and Chris and Ross really talked about great stuff we've done for customers at lots of different places across that spectrum, but not only showing the technology solutions we've delivered, as you said, Suzanne, Ross is in your team, and what he was talking about was really how we can really help customers for that people change, and to get the outputs from AI for the betterment of their staff, and for the in the case of the customer you're talking about, their primary driver for using Copilot in the first place was employee well-being. Now, it turned out they had a very compelling commercial business case, and they've managed to drive a lot of change across lots of parts of the business. But their initial interest was, can we use this to make our people's lives better? And that's what it's all about, really.
Chris was a superhero, being sick and then delivering a polished performance. And kudos to Ross as well. He was obviously nervous, but he came across so well. He looked like a seasoned speaker.
Yeah, definitely. Very good. And going back to sort of what Dan's just said about Ross's presentation, it was very much about how they sort of developed use cases and put the right things in place to make it a nicer experience for the users, to give them some of that time back, a bit of well-being, but it also made people in the audience think about change and adoption, because after that session, I spoke to at least 3 clients who are looking at rolling out Copilot and said they hadn't even thought about change and adoption, and listening to that presentation had sort of made them think, we've got this wrong. So,
And we've spoken about exactly that point on some other
Yeah.
episodes of the technology boardroom, where we've talked around this idea of this latest AI wave. This isn't just another bit of technology that you deploy into your organization and you'll upgrade it in 3 years' time, and then you'll do rinse and repeat that forever. This is a seismic shift. This is a change in the fundamental way that people are going to be doing business and working inside businesses over the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, however long it takes for this to sort of move everywhere. And it really is important to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I mean, so first, I think I mentioned I really enjoyed this session. So the room was full, and it was so cool to see people in the audience with particular slides and sort of holding up their cameras and taking photos of the slides. An example was the EKFB story, which, for people that don't know, they are the engineering company helping build HS2. And Chris was talking about how we help them get a better understanding of their incidents that occur on site and try to reduce unjustified claims that were filed for people that, for example, broke a leg or something. And there was a slide called, I think it was called Establishing the Ground Truth, which was a bunch of questions to help get a better understanding of incidents like was there a witness, or are we sure that the person really worked that day? And then you see this army of sort of people in the audience holding up their cameras, taking photos, and obviously the messaging or something really hit home for them because the messaging obviously landed. It was a cool moment.
No, and it's always the case, right, that every organization believes themselves to be unique, and of course in some way they are, but there's so many challenges that go across organizations and across verticals that AI is going to be able to solve. And part of our job, if we're doing our job well as a true technology partner for our clients, is to be able to lift and shift that story about incident reporting and change at EKFB and apply that to a legal firm or to a manufacturing organization or a retail store or whatever of any size. And that, I think, is an important a part that we can play as a partner to help democratize this AI wave and bring it to more clients more quickly. I would be remiss if I didn't ask each of you an on-the-spot question. So, Suzanne, I'm giving you just a few seconds to be prepared. So, what was your highlight of the day? You were there. What was the thing that stood out for you?
For me, it was that we had clients that we're already working with that were at the conference, not as Advania guests, but still made the effort to come and talk to us, spend some time with us. And we don't often get to do that with our clients. We're delivering everything over Teams, and, just to have that sort of face-to-face conversations. I just felt quite proud. I worked for Advania yesterday. That's all I can say.
I'm so pleased to see these large scale sort of in-person events now becoming significantly more normal again, because they're always such a fantastic way to both soak up information from large vendors like Microsoft or from partners like ourselves, but also to just keep that human connection. And I think with regard to AI in particular, we have to keep that human connection and keep remembering that the whole point of the AI revolution, if you want to call it that, is about how do we make things better for people, the individuals inside organizations, and then those benefits trickle up. And I think, it's really good highlight, I think.
And I think also it's a good time to bring in a conversation I had with our CEO this morning, who obviously was there yesterday. And he said that it's the first conference since before COVID that he's been to that the buzz was so obvious there, the excitement in people. And when people came to the stand, they were genuinely interested in what we could offer them. And, he just thought it was an amazing day.
It seems to have gone down well with everyone that attended. I've seen nothing but great buzz from everybody. So yeah, I think that's a story we'll hear more of. Dan, what about you? What's the one thing that stood out for
I'm
you?
going to have to choose more than one because Suzanne's stolen all my ideas, to be honest. So,
She said steal my thunder. I've got a good one.
so I was going to say sitting
for
on the front
long.
row of the keynote, but no, Suzanne did that as well. And I was going to say getting that real opportunity to just genuinely connect with customers. I met people yesterday that I've worked with loads and never actually met in person, or we had some really in-depth conversations with people, and that I've always loved being close to the customer and seeing stuff happen. And when you're a consultant, you live vicariously through the outcomes of your customer rather than your own business. But yesterday really felt like an opportunity to properly empower our customers to do really good things. And and as Suzanne said, they're there, they're willing, they're able, they're excited themselves. I hope this wasn't yours. Oh no, my other one would be the robot on our stand. Was that what are you going to say?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. So obviously echo what you guys have said. I think talking to customers, new and old, was definitely a highlight, especially for someone new to the company. Spending time with some of my colleagues was also as rewarding because, like I said, I'm new to the company, so there was sort of more than 16 people there, and I got to spend a lot of quality time with them. I got to meet our group CEO, which was really cool. And then
who, by the way, had flown
Mel,
from
our
Sweden
marketing
just
lead.
specifically to see us on our stand, and then flew straight back the same day. That was no other reason for being in the UK.
Amazing. And then Mel, our marketing lead, in a old school robot suit, was
Brilliant.
just such an effort. For those that don't know, we're doing this marketing campaign, and we've got this old school robot and an advert, and it's also on sort of posters on the Elizabeth line. But we had our marketing lead dressed up in this old school robot taking photos at the stand. I got a great photo. I think lots of people got great photos. Customers got photos. Everyone was walking past taking photos. That was definitely a highlight, and huge
what
kudos
was
to Mel.
great was that Mel had to sort of go off to another room to change. She sort of done 3 sessions throughout the day.
And she was blind. She had to be
on the
guided.
way back, she got accosted by a crowd of people that wanted photos, and it took her about 20 minutes to get back to the stand. It was really funny.
All attempts at her anonymity have now gone out of the window. I was told to say it was a real robot.
I think anonymity not needed at all. Mel did a phenomenal job.
She did. Hats off to her. She was absolutely brilliant.
Having the gumption to get inside that robot costume.
And she didn't mind being plugged into the sockets, and her eyes lit up.
But the battery wasn't charged properly, so every time she came to the stand, we had to actually physically plug her into the mains to make her right this up. So,
wow,
that was interesting. It could have gone spectacularly wrong, but thank you.
Yeah.
So before we leave our listeners for today, final thoughts from everyone, and same question to all of you. So, what's next? Based on where we are now, based on where customers we believe are in their journey, what's the one thing that they should be looking to do now to take advantage of this great technology and this great stuff that's been announced?
I think for me, and I spoke to some really nice clients yesterday that I've not met before. They're new to AI, and we've talked about, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about where it is you want to go. But it's really sort of thinking about, why do we want AI? It's not a case of we've got to have it, but really thinking about why they want it. What is it they want to get out of it? Because I think if they can do that, it makes the journey much smoother for them.
Yeah. So Chris and Ross ended their session yesterday with, I I'm just opening up the last slide, and it says AI value gets unlocked with a vision, boldness, and a team that can make it happen. I think just be bold, jump in, pilot, test, learn, obviously use us. But that would be a great place to start.
I don't think there's one thing, because I think AI means different things to every individual and to every company, and every customer that we worked with are on a slightly different point on that journey of maturity with their usage. So I think the thing, though, that I would say is the experience we've had with all those customers over the last couple of years and the closeness we have with Microsoft and the technology means we can help those customers no matter where they are on that journey. If they're just thinking about it, or if they're smashing the doors off already but want to really go further, I think we've got the ability to inject ourselves in that process at, wherever the customer is, and really help move forward, both in terms of value that they get, in terms of the governance and security they've got around these tools, and in terms of the user experience that they get from leveraging them as well.
And just one
Fantastic.
final add is,
Of course.
when people are thinking about new technology, please think about the end user and, the support that they are going to need to use that new technology.
People are key, right? At the end of the day, it should be at the heart of everything
Definitely.
that we do, in any circumstance, but particularly with regard to AI. So, thank you, folks, for an absolutely fantastic conversation. It sounds like it was a wonderful event, and I'm sure we'll hear much more about it over the next few days and weeks. I'm sure the robot will make another appearance. I don't think that's going to survive not happening again. And thank you again for a great chat. Thank you to all our listeners for listening, and we hope to see you again on the next episode of the Technology Boardroom. Thank you.
Sorry, mate.
All right, mate.
Oh, I got caught up at work.
No worries.
We've got this new AI thing set up at work. It's brilliant. You should see it. Mate, it's so clever. It's such a time saver.
Yeah, I can see that.
Cheers to the future.
Cheers, mate. Digital twin. Can you make a bar chart from the open data in the dashboard to represent the historical performance of both companies over the last 5 years? Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
I finally got AI to create a spreadsheet today.
Spreadsheet complete. Send to all.
No, that's not what I said. Wait, stop. No, undo. It's not perfect, but hey, nothing ever is, right?
Gary, why have the global team got sight of our financials? What was in that spreadsheet? You better get back to the office sharp.
See you soon. Sorry, I've got to get back to the office. You know what it's like.
Sure, mate, no problem. Maybe next time, eh?
Yeah. Cheers, mate.